Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. My name is Nastasia if you're new here. Today I'm doing a little second trimester recap. I am not in my second trimester anymore. I am about 30-ish weeks right now, so I am a little bit bigger than second trimester. This is where I'm at right now. Whew. I'm feeling baby. I'm really excited to talk about the second trimester. I have a first trimester video on my channel as well. If you want to go check that out, I will have that up here for you to see, and I will have it just in the end of the video too for the end card if you want to check it out. But I don't want to waste too much of your time. If you end up liking this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, so you never miss out on a video every time I post. I do have a goal for May. I started setting goals and sharing them with you guys on my Instagram because I love supporting other people with their goals. So I have a YouTube goal to reach, it's very specific, but I think specific goals are good, to reach 39,075 subscribers by the end of the month. And so if you could help me with that, that would be amazing by hitting the subscribe button. And then also I have a Patreon, if you don't know, where I post content every single month, exclusive content, exclusive videos that can only be seen over there. I have some other pregnancy related content there, and just in general, more advice content, some new agey type, exposing new age stuff and all that jazz. So, and the link is in the description down below. I have a goal for that as well. I would love to welcome 10 new patron friends over there. There's 3 levels to choose from. So if you are able to sign up, I would so appreciate it. You are so loved. Thank you to my current patrons. I love you so much. So let's get into it. So the first trimester was so rough for me. Oh my gosh, it was literally, I'm not trying to be dramatic. I've been through a lot in my life, but these were some of the hardest months of my life. Physically, all the things, like it was really, really hard. I had not prepared myself for how difficult the first trimester would be for me. I never actually threw up, but I was nauseous all the time, and I had extreme food aversion, extreme. And it was like I was always right on the edge of throwing up. Like, you know that feeling right before you're like, I'm gonna throw up, I'm gonna throw up. But it was that 100% of the time, all day, every day. So there wasn't ever really any relief. And so it was really hard for me to eat food. And I was just exhausted, you know, all the typical first trimester things, but I just had it the entire first trimester. Some people only have it for a couple weeks. I had it from about week 5-ish, 5.5 gestation, so I had only known, it was about 5.5 weeks when I started getting really nauseous and all the food aversions, and it lasted through about 15.5 weeks for me, so a solid 10 weeks straight through Christmas and everything. So it was about mid-January-ish when that's a rough estimate, but when I started feeling better and getting into the second trimester. So the second trimester is typically when women start getting their energy back and all that stuff, and I was really hoping that would be me, and thankfully it was. I do still have slight food aversion the entire pregnancy, but nothing compared to the first trimester. But there are certain things that I still hate, like chili and different things like that, that I used to eat a lot before. So some of the changes that happened, again, even though the second trimester started around like 13-ish weeks, I didn't feel any relief or change really until like 15.5-ish weeks. And but the first thing I noticed was my energy starting to come back, and me starting to be able to eat certain things again. So just having an appetite for anything, like a craving for anything, even a slight craving. So I started being able to eat more things again, and I in the first trimester I had to sleep legit like 10 hours every single night, and if I slept less than like 9 or 8, I would get sick. like physically like get either the flu or a cold or something every single time like clockwork. So I was like, I'm not messing with that. 10 hours for me. So I had to sleep a lot. I had to take a lot of naps. Also, I'm rubbing my back because I'm having some back pain. Don't mind me. But yeah, so I started getting some energy back and being able to sleep only like 9 hours and then 8 hours. And then it got to the point where I could sleep like 7.5 to 8 hours and still function and be okay. So that was a win for me because it was hard being like, crap, I didn't sleep enough last night, I'm gonna get sick now. So not having to worry about that as much anymore. And I was able to be more consistent with my vitamins and stuff like that because they weren't making me so nauseous. And I was just able to eat more in general. Something that was interesting is I started, like certain things started giving me stomach aches, not like intense, but just more of a sensitive stomach, which makes sense because your digestive system does change a little bit when you're pregnant. Some people it's for the better. Some people they usually have all these intolerances when they're not pregnant, and then when they are pregnant they don't have them. For me, it wasn't that I was fully like intolerant of anything, or still, I should say still, because I am still pregnant. It was more of just like, it would be like, ooh, I have a little bit of a tummy ache there, you know what I mean? And so I'd consume certain things less. I'm not gonna necessarily get into what those things are because I don't know, it might change and it doesn't really matter, but there were just certain things that I could consume a lot of before being pregnant that then it was like, okay, maybe not. And it wasn't like gross processed stuff, it was like really good for me foods that I had to start spreading out throughout the day or like minimizing. So it was an interesting symptom that I don't know if I've heard other people talk about as much. Heartburn was a big thing that continued. I was gonna say start, but in the very first trimester I didn't know what heartburn was because I had never really dealt with it before being pregnant or anything, and so I would have this feeling all the time and I'd be like, what is this? I hate it. And I would describe it and I would try to type it into Google and it would give me different answers and I'm like, I don't know if this is what I think it is, but it's heartburn. It is. And it's just, if you're wondering, at least for me, I always thought it was this feeling of like actually in your heart, which some people, I guess it could be that, where it actually like your heart is hurting. But heartburn and acid reflux can be very similar in certain ways, and at least from what I've read. And it is this feeling of like heat in your esophagus, and it's just like uncomfortable and gross and like acidic, and I have it almost constantly. I have it literally right now. I have it almost 100% of the time. Some people say that means the baby's gonna have a lot of hair. I have extremely thin hair. My husband has extremely thick hair, so I will take it. Honestly, if this will give my baby some thick hair, I love you, baby. You deserve that. But yeah, heartburn is a thing that I've had a lot, and I had to get just used to it because it's not going away. I have tried the different tricks. I refuse to personally refuse to take like different medications for it or anything because I am trying to be as minimal with medications as humanly possible. There's been a couple times during this pregnancy that I have been sick with a fever, and after like the 24-hour mark I have had to take a small dose of over-the-counter, you know, nothing crazy, something to bring the fever down, to just make sure baby's okay and it stays down. And so I just don't like to, I don't know, I'm somebody who doesn't like to overdo it on medication anyway, and so I don't want to take anything prescribed for heartburn. So I've been trying all the natural things. I've been trying like taking, you know, a little bit of apple cider vinegar and water and all the things, and that just wrecked my stomach. I could not do that at all. Even the tiniest bit of it in a bunch of water I could not do. I tried just a bunch of different things. I don't even know if I could name it all for you, but none of it works for me, and so I've just had to deal with it. Sleeping on my left side for some reason tends to help, so I sleep on my left side. If that helps anybody, and I just kind of bear through it. I did notice that eating helps me prevent it. So that makes sense why in the first trimester it was so annoying to me, because when you have an empty stomach and you're nauseous and you have heartburn, it's like triple threat. It hurts so much. I started, this was later in the second trimester, I would say around 20-ish weeks, 22 weeks or whatever. I started getting some of the pelvic pain, where it's like your actual bone. From what I've read online, I don't know if I actually have the pubic dysfunction, what a symphysis pubic dysfunction or whatever it is. I don't know if I actually have that. I don't really care to get properly like told if I have it or not. But if I do, it sounds correct, and basically it's like this idea from what I've read that like your pubic bone kind of like goes in like this, and it's like there's a bone in the middle then, and then I think as these separate, because the hormone relaxin like is helping prepare you for labor so that you can birth your baby, it puts excess pressure, don't quote me on this, look it up yourself, on that middle bone, I think. Either way, not a fun time. It causes pain and almost like a heat pain right on that bone, and it makes it so that like for instance, rolling over in bed hurts. I've never experienced something like that before. So I've had to figure out ways to maneuver myself in bed without it hurting too much and stuff like that, and sleep with a pillow between my legs at all times and all that jazz. And I did, for most of the second trimester, start experiencing some hip pain, but a good trick for me that I found was, well, one, walking a lot. I've been trying to walk a lot. In the first trimester, I literally couldn't do anything. But in the second trimester, I would say, starting at like 15.5 weeks, I walked almost every, like at least usually 5 times a week, if not 7 days a week for summer weeks of the entire second trimester, at least like a mile, sometimes 2 miles a day or whatever, or in between that. And that helps my hip pain a lot. And then it also, I think it helps my pelvic pain a little. And then it, I would take the like bands, like exercise bands, and put them around my knees, and I would do like on the ground, I'd be on like all fours and do like donkey kicks backwards slowly, or like the crab leg openers or whatever, or the clamshell openers, is that what it is? Not crab, clamshell openers, and that helped my hip pain immensely. So maybe look into that if you're experiencing some hip pain. It's been harder to do that right now with my pubic, what I think might be pubic dysfunction, whatever that pain is, because being on one leg hurts the pubic bone because it's relying on it more, so it presses in on it more. And so I have had to adjust certain things, but I haven't had as much hip pain. That was something else that I had though. My second trimester in general was pretty mild. After like, you know, the 15.5 week mark, I had a ton of energy. I felt like I could do anything. I was really hoping that would happen, and it did. I could really hang, really. I could just, I could do a ton of stuff. I didn't have to take almost any naps. And I was able to eat a lot more, like I was saying, and keep it all down. I was able to finally gain some weight. I might do a whole video on this in the future, because I have had some people ask me about my weight, and they say, you know, like, wow, you're so skinny, you haven't gained anything, I want to look like you when I'm pregnant, you don't even look pregnant from behind. And like, I want to make it very clear that that is not the goal. Like, that wasn't my goal. Like, I in no way, shape, or form ever encourage somebody to be focusing on your weight during pregnancy whatsoever. I do not recommend trying to look like you're not pregnant. Like, I am actively trying to gain healthy weight for this baby, because my first trimester was so difficult that I lost inches, and I didn't want that to happen. So I'm trying to make that very clear that, like, please do not compare yourself to me. Please do not. Like, I have lost muscle mass. I have lost probably a lot of fat. Like, I And I know my body will do what it has to do, like God is in control and everything's gonna be okay, but like I also am aware I'm gonna have to try extra hard most likely to keep my milk supply up, because you wanna have a little bit extra oomph on you to help with those stress hormones or different things like that that might come up. So I'm not saying this is medical advice or anything like that. I'm just saying, please don't compare yourself to me. Don't compare yourself to anybody. Like, your body will do what it has to do. And also, when I got pregnant, like when we got pregnant, I was at a healthier weight. Like, I had some safety weight on me, probably a higher weight than I had been maybe ever. And I'm not saying that in a bad way or good, I'm just saying that's where I was at. And so it's possible my body felt like it didn't need to gain a ton of weight. End of the day, do not compare yourself to me. All of our bodies are different, and I plan to, in my next pregnancy, one day, years down the road, be able to have some more muscle mass on me, and hopefully be in a place where I'm not as nauseous during the first trimester, and I can I can consume more food. Sorry, this has become a tangent, but whole point being, your goal is not to look a certain way when you're pregnant. Please, please, please do not try to think that, you know. Your priority is for your body and your baby's body to be healthy and to do what it's supposed to do, and for the Lord to be able to sustain you in that way. And so just, that's my 2 cents on that. But I just felt like it needed to be said, because I feel like I've gotten a lot of comments lately from people either online or in person of like, man, I wish I looked like you when I was pregnant. I was like, no, full stop, we're not doing that. We're not doing that, you know. Everybody's body is so different. So, rant over. I got a lot happier in the second trimester. Being without all that food aversion and nausea and stuff, I was a nicer person. I still had, obviously, like, hormonal fluctuations. I still had meltdowns and different things like that, of course, but, and just circumstantially in my life, like, just different hormonal things plus the stress of life is going to cause some breakdowns. But that being said, I still feel like I was like night and day a happier person. I was just, my husband was happier because I was happier. I was not I did not feel miserably sick all the time. Yeah, it was a lot better. Also, I wanted to touch on sleep. So in the first trimester, I actually could sleep very well. It was the only time I didn't feel sick, actually. It was the only time I felt like I had some relief was when I was sleeping, and I'm very grateful for that, honestly. I would keep it that way. The second trimester, really more like halfway through, is when I started experiencing more sleep issues. I don't want to say full-on issues, but just like being like, oh, this is what people talk about. Of just like a little bit uncomfortable, waking up several times, having to pee in the middle of the night at least once, if not twice. And I did start experiencing some sleep paralysis, which I have had in the past, but it's been very rare. And usually, this isn't about this topic necessarily, like this could be a whole video. In the past, for me, it has sometimes been a spiritual attack. Again, I don't need to get into that right now, but I know a lot of people have experienced it in that way. It could have been that. It also could have been the hormones. It also could have been that I have figured out that every time I've had sleep paralysis before I was pregnant, it was when I was napping. I was taking a nap. And so your REM cycle is a little bit off. And you don't really have time to go into a full cycle sleep. But if you're really tired, it can mess things up so that your body is fully asleep, but your mind isn't, and then it's like this whole thing. You can look it up, but you feel paralyzed. It's not a fun time. It can be scary. And I think that it can be both like scientific and spiritual, if that makes sense. Like it could be something where it's like this is happening for a reason, like because of the REM cycle and stuff, but then also it can be a foothold for a spiritual attack. Like, and I'm not saying possession or anything like that. I'm just saying like oppression, like a spiritual attack. But all that being said, I did experience that in my like nighttime sleep, not just naps. However, it was always after I had gotten up at like 3, 4 a.m. to go pee and then falling back asleep, knowing I had to wake up in like 2.5 hours for work. So it was kind of like a nap, if that makes sense. And so I'm wondering if there's some correlation there, but it was always, every single time that I would have sleep paralysis, I would have nightmares. Nightmares are also very common in pregnancy as well, or just vivid dreams in general, but yeah, I started having those. It's calmed down a little bit lately. It could pick up again, who knows, but yeah, sleep, I've just kind of taken with a grain of salt. I've been trying to be positive about it and be like, you know, this is just preparing me for baby, it's okay. You know, on the days I'm tired, I'm like, my motto has been, you can live tired. People live tired all the time. So I've been telling myself that because it's just so easy to get frustrated and wake up and be like, oh my gosh, I got 5 hours of sleep. My friend told me, she was like, one of the biggest things, like the best things you can do is not look at the clock. Whether you are, you know, pregnant and waking up during the night or waking up with your baby, just try not to look at the clock and try not to calculate how many hours you actually slept, because then you'll get in your head about it and you'll be like, I only slept 4 hours, versus what if you did sleep 4 hours but your body feels okay, and so you don't actually know it and you can just function like a normal person, you know? So I've been trying not to get in my head about it and just be like, you know what, it's okay. It is what it is. This is motherhood. Motherhood has already begun, and it's all right. You know, this is not forever, and it's gonna be just fine. Before I finish up here, though, because there really weren't too many symptoms in the second trimester, other than like, I guess back pain kind of started towards the end of the second trimester. It's really more in the third. But I did want to just point out some things about my belly that I think are funny. So I'm wearing a black tank top. I'm wearing high-waisted leggings, so I'm just gonna pull this up a little bit, but you can see that like it's all really in the front. Like there's nothing really on the sides here, and that's not because I was super fit before by any means. I don't really know why. Some people say that boys sit more like straight out and girls sit more like out this way. We don't know what the gender is, so it's possible that, you know, if it's a boy, maybe it's like this, like straight out like that. I genuinely feel like I have a basketball on my stomach all the time. These muscles right here are being stretched to the max. In my round ligament pain, it kind of, you know, in the first trimester, it was there for sure because it was like just gearing up for baby anyway. But whew, I think I've just gotten used to the round ligament pain at this point. It's so common in my life. Also, I have some internal kind of scar tissue right around my sternum area that is just more sensitive, which is like right between my ribs. And my ribs have been expanding, and then baby's feet are right here under my ribs, and they keep kicking my ribs, which is really cute and a little bit really painful. And sometimes they kick my sternum, and so I feel very sore. I knew somebody, she told me that her baby, when she was pregnant, kicked her so hard it broke her rib. It literally gave her, well, it gave her a stress fracture. So like a type of break, like a fracture in her rib. I'm like, what? No, let's not, baby, let's not do that. So that has been a little bit uncomfy, but I'm grateful because if feet are up here, then that means there's a really good chance baby is in a really great position. So that's been very encouraging. I've been feeling hiccups lately, which has been so cute. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so cute. And I think baby is a little scared when they get hiccups. You know how we usually hate getting hiccups too? I think baby hates getting hiccups. And so they just keep going. It's like I'll feel this big like kick and like a movement like everywhere, and I'm like, whoa. And I'll just feel boop, boop, boop. Like right down where their head would be. It's so cute. I'm like, oh my gosh, the hiccups woke you up and scared you. That's so cute. So that's been a fun thing. And yeah, I've just, I have felt stretched. And I know some people talk about this, so I guess I'll mention it really quickly. I haven't gotten any stretch marks on my belly yet. I know a lot of people that like they'll get them, they won't have them the whole time, and then they'll get a ton in like the last week or two of pregnancy. So I don't care I genuinely, I actually don't care. I've already have stretch marks on my hips from being a woman and surviving in this life. And at first it bothered me when I first got stretch marks on my hips like 2 years ago, and then I was like, who cares? My husband doesn't care. I don't care. Everybody has these. Who cares? Like, and so if I get them on my belly, it's fine with me. But I haven't yet. I have gotten them on my chest. It looks like I got shredded by a tiger. I'm trying not to be like graphic, but like it looks like I got into a fight in the Amazon jungle wearing nothing. Like it's that I didn't expect. I expected stretch marks all over my belly and my hips and my legs and stuff like that. Haven't gotten them anywhere else. And then on my chest, it's just like, no, I don't even, this is like, it's literally comical. It's just like, it looks like lightning strikes all over me. So it's okay though. Like, the only person that sees me is my husband or my baby, you know, when they're gonna be nursing, and I just don't care. You know what I mean? It's just like, whatever. Like, I get to grow my child and birth them and feed them. Like, I'll take it. Like, you know, so anyway, that's what I have for you today. Please don't forget to subscribe and check out my Patreon. Help me hit my goals this month. It would mean the world to me. Seriously, I have big goals. I'm working super hard for them, and I'm not gonna stop. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys helping me out with that. So I love you, and I will see you soon. Bye guys. Baby says bye too.